Welcome to the Jay and Margot Show.
where we keep it real, raw, and respectful.
Welcome back to another week with us. We are excited and thank you for tuning in. We do not take it lightly
No,
that
we don't.
you guys watch our show, but we do have something that we would like to see more of, that we request of you. Interact with us.
Yes.
Talk with us. Leave us some comments. I said commas. Lord, I'll take some commas. Give me a number, a number, a comma, a number, a number, a comma. Y'all get my drift.
Yeah.
I'll take those commas. But leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about the show.
Yes.
Last week we talked about reviewing, reflecting, refreshing, and resetting. So is there something different that we could do, that we could consider, that would make the show better
Yes.
for you guys? Because we are here for you guys.
Or content you want to hear about.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Because again, between the two of us, we have lived multiple lives
yes.
a couple times over.
Yes, yes. So this week we will be talking, or our topic, let's put it this way, our topic entitled is worth the work, worth the wait.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Last week we talked about the Lions and how they're in their winning season and they had to put in some work, but it was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
They had to wait, but it was worth it for them to be where they are right now, experiencing the, I would say, past year and a half, because this is a new season.
Yeah.
Yes, the victories. And so it's important that as we go through life, we understand the importance of putting in the work, but then also understand the importance of waiting. Like, there's worth in the wait. And and it was beautiful because as I was on my way over so that we could record, I was speaking with my daughter. My oldest daughter is 23, and she has lived a life. She has experienced some things.
Yeah.
She was in a really bad car accident back in 2019. Or no, I'm sorry, 2020. This was at the beginning of the pandemic and the shutdown that took place. And she has a lot of questions. She has a lot of emotions and feelings. And she said something. She was like, God told me that I'm in the valley. He said so. She said, I said, thank you for letting me know, but I'm tired of feeling the way that I'm feeling. And I said, you know what? I said, that's because you're in the valley of preparation. God is working on you. So when we are putting in the work, just know that God is working too.
That's right.
And there's a reason why if you're in the valley, like my daughter is, it is not in vain. There is a reason. There is something that you need to learn. There is something that, and when I say you,
Yes.
we are included in that, because we have done a lot of learning in the past couple of weeks, past year, few years, but last few months it has really been like heightened in the lessons that we're learning.
And that's to be expected for growth. If you're not going through these types of situations or circumstances, that means you're not growing.
Yes, yes. And so let's jump into this, because this was really good. And I love how God breaks things down and how he reveals things to us. Now I'm talking because I'm stalling, because Hosea is a very short book in the Bible, and I know I have probably passed it.
And it's funny because when you were saying that you had talked to your daughter, it reminded me, we go from glory to glory in our lives, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it because of the battles we've had to go through in order to move on to the next glory. It truly is a blessing, though, because it is preparing you for the end result where you're trying to go. I don't think we're ever really going to have an end result, because the minute you do fulfill one thing,
yes,
your mind has expanded, your spirit has expanded, and God downloads something else for you to do.
Yes.
So when they say that, you'll never arrive. That is so very true.
That is so true. And that makes me think about when I called you the other day and my pastor flows in the prophetic. And he said to me, I had went up for prayer. He said to me, he said, God is giving you a lot of plans, a lot of visions. He said, but it's the one you don't want to do that God will set you up for prosperity. That God will, he said, you are the inheritor for your family. And he's right. Like it's that one that makes me uncomfortable. I talked about it last week, having to ask people to sit on the board for what I'm doing.
And that is the purpose-driven one. That is. Think about it. Out of all the things.
Because
and same for mine. You know, mine that I had been delaying and putting off is the purpose-driven one.
Yes.
All these other things, and what did I tell you? That all these other things was just to set you up. To prepare you for this.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it.
Because I was in as our motto is where we keep it real, raw, and respectful. I'm always keep it real. I was telling her how in my head and in my world, like these are some heavy hitters that I am asking to sit at this table with me. And I feel like little old me.
That cracks me up.
Yes.
That cracks me
not realizing that the way I view these people, other people view me this way. Because I am a heavy hitter.
I'm like, think about it though. Because we're all in the same community together at the same events. They see what we're doing. They see what you're doing. What the stuff that you're going forth. You know, the things you commit yourself to. You know, like. You are a heavy
and I make things
hitter.
happen. I know how to get things done. So here I am intimidated and feeling insecure. Yes, I am insecure about some things.
Well, we all are.
If you're being transparent, yes, we all are. But what she said to me is my one business, the Invisible Secretary. It felt like, oh, this is good. Because last week we talked about it seems like people are falling off. And I said, people are being removed. I only have one client left for the Invisible Secretary. I have been in my feelings because that's my baby. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know how to move in and do. And
your talents, your gifts.
My talents and my gifts. My clients, and they parted on good terms because I'm phenomenal. I'm good at what I do. But we just... You know, they was like, hey, you are great. Thank you so much. They leave me wonderful reviews. I got one. And I'm like, God, what is going on? What she said to me, she was like, the people that I can pick my phone up and call their phone, not email their secretary, not hit them up on Facebook Messenger, when I hit their name, it rings their phone.
Yes.
And I was able to call a couple of these people and they, what's up? And I'm just like, the Invisible Secretary put me in those rooms. The Invisible Secretary had me where I needed to be to make the connections that I needed to make, not realizing that it's the one thing that I don't want to do. God is preparing us for. So we have to be
willing to be molded.
Yes.
Truly.
But then we have to also, I don't know what I want to say, slow to make sure that we don't...
Worth the wait.
Put
the work in while you're waiting. And sometimes it doesn't seem like we're seeing the fruit, the results that we want. We want that immediate reward. And this has been years in the making. And while you were working, not realizing that it was setting you up for this next thing.
Right. You're right. But what I was trying to articulate is while we're working, we have to make sure we don't fumble what God has given us. And in our conversations, I was like, look, if he fumbled the ball with you, that's on him. He missed out. We have to make sure that we don't fumble what God is, the current play, and maybe we still stuck in this
the
whole
football thing. I'm good with that. Let's go.
We don't fumble the ball, or you don't throw it to the opposing team. That's what pissed me off about the game last week, and that's why I changed, because they didn't score their first. They didn't get, like, they had the ball, they had to go for a field goal, and then when they got the ball back after the Lions played, I was so because it's like he threw the ball and threw it right into the Lions' hand. Like, were you not looking?
Oh, he didn't though. He didn't. There was a player there that was supposed to catch it,
but his back was turned, or he was not in position.
There.
I mean, but
think about that.
Because when they did the replay, I'm looking. It's like he threw it in
with anticipation that his guy was going to turn around and see it, but he was not in position. But somebody else came through and received that. Wow.
And so I'm like, I changed the channel, but I had to make sure, and even though I'm in the Invisible Secretary and I love what I'm doing, when my clients started saying, hey, you know what, due to financial reasons, I'm gonna have to, because I'm an expendable expense. Like, they can let me go in there. You know what I'm saying? Having me is a luxury.
Yes.
It's not something that is necessary or mandatory for other businesses. So I know I'm the first one on the chopping block. But if I would have fumbled that ball, I wouldn't have been able to call these people. I wouldn't have been able to say, hey, this is what God has given me. This is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Will you sit on this board with me?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Had you gotten distracted or discouraged because clients were leaving and then just stopping altogether and then not being able to meet these people or establish the relationships.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So when we talk about working, we are going to come from Hosea chapter 10, verse 12. And it says, I think I want a different translation, but I'm going to read what I have here. It says, sow for yourselves righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord till he comes and rains righteousness on you. Yes, I definitely want the other translation. But this is my handy dandy Bible. I love the New King James Version.
How do you spell it?
Hosea, H-O.
I got it.
Got it. Okay.
What was the chapter and verse?
10, verse 12.
Maybe I do. Yeah. Like my Bible don't got that Bible.
You know what? The way they play around with the Bible,
maybe
not.
No,
I mean, but I'm saying how there are some scriptures that have been removed from the Bible.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's scary.
That's very scary.
Here we go.
So, what
chapter
just happened?
What chapter you said?
Compare. Chapter 10. I'm sorry, my mind went blank. Okay, so I am going to read the NLT version. And it says, plant the good seeds. And I don't even think this is not.
What verse you trying to get it?
12.
So this is the NIV. And it says, so it's way
No,
up
that's
here.
so. This is going to be the
righteousness.
Well, I
this
want the
Hosea
word.
10.
No, the translation that I'm looking for. And I don't know.
Let's try the Message.
It's you know what? Let me go to the Bible Hub. Is it the Bible Hub? Okay. Oh, it's the Good News translation.
Okay.
And it says, I said, plow new ground for yourselves, plant righteousness, and reap the blessings that your devotion to me will produce. It is time for you to turn to me, your Lord, and I will come and pour out blessings upon you. Now, this is God speaking. This is him speaking to us. This was him speaking to Hosea. So that's why it starts off with saying, I said. So not Jay, not Margot. God said, plow new ground. But this is where we have to put in the work. Mm-hmm. I've never lived on a farm, had to work on a farm, but just from what you see on movies, and there's a lot of rural areas around where we live, it's a lot of work when you own a farm. And there's some plowing that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. They don't get to see a harvest right away. At the beginning of the season, when they till that ground and break the dirt up so that the seed can be planted. And this was, God always know what he's talking about. God always has a beautiful word analogy for us. But first, when you're plowing, you're tearing that ground up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you are working, they're messy. Marco has her own construction company. Mm-hmm. Things get messy. Mm-hmm. Things get dirty. You got to tear walls down. You have to put the work in. You have to.
And sometimes you don't even know what you're getting into until you start putting in that work. Mm-hmm.
Put in the work. So you're plowing. You're breaking it up. Now you got to plant a seed. The invisible secretary was my seed and did not know it. Did not know it.
That's good.
And then now I get to reap the blessings that my devotion to God has manifested. And now when it's time, he's going to come and pour out the blessing upon me. Amen. Like when we read scripture, we have to make it personal.
Yes.
We have to say, God did this for me. God loves me. Mm-hmm. God is thinking about me. Mm-hmm. God cares for me. God will not allow anything to harm me.
Yes. And visualize it. See yourself in it. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You have to. And so when it comes to working, we got to put the work in. So there's a scripture that says nothing comes to a lazy man, a lazy woman. You can't sit up at home and watch my 600-pound life. Like, no. You can, but there has to be balance. And that's a good word. My pastor talked about balance at church, So yes, do you need to rest sometimes? Yeah. But if you're watching YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Tubi, Peacock, Prime, if you're all the time, what work is getting done?
Very good.
And then now 5 years from now, you upset and displeased with where you are in life.
And irritated because you saw people who was at the same level as you when all y'all was getting started together and they have excelled. They're at the place where you wanted to be.
Yep. And they were working quietly behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. They were not, look at me.
While you was Netflixing, YouTubing, or whatever else.
They had balance. Yeah. So while y'all could talk about the recent episode of Power, they were watching it, but they were working. Mm-hmm. They was sitting there writing out the plan.
Or maybe they sacrificed and didn't even watch it. Because literally, how is that going to make you grow?
No, I just said that if we talk about a show, like me and you want to talk about the Jay and Margot show, we both watched the episode, but after I watched the episode, I went to work. You decided to go and watch something else after that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that they watched it because there's nothing wrong with that.
Just like I was watching my football game earlier.
And I went and sat out on my patio because it was such a beautiful day outside that I'm like, I'm going to take full advantage of this. Yeah. So you can enjoy simple pleasures in life, but don't let it be all day, every day.
Yes.
You got to put in the work.
Yes.
And so before we run out of time here, we want to share with you 3 points of what putting in the work looks like. And so the first one is overcoming obstacles. That might be watching TV all day long, scrolling on Facebook all day long. Sometimes and some days, I don't know how I get anything done because I be on Facebook. I be on TikTok.
Them rabbit holes be having you gone for like an hour or two. And you're like, how did that time go by so quick?
Yes. Or you see,
No sense.
my husband love to send me videos on Facebook Messenger, and I be trying to keep up with him, y'all. I'll look at the video as soon as he sent it to me, but then, like she said, an hour later, I'm scrolling
Still
on Facebook
scrolling
and I'm
for
like,
the next one and
yeah,
the next one.
What? Right. This does not make any sense that I done wasted this much time.
Yes.
But although I wasted that time, now that means I just got to work extra harder. I got to put in overtime
Yes.
to make up for what I didn't get done.
Yep.
And so it's so important that you do what needs to be done so that you can overcome that obstacle. It may not be social media or TV. It might be fear.
Yeah.
It might be insecurity, as we just talked about.
Yeah, and it might even be that whole what we had just said, that you don't even know what you're getting into until you start getting into it. So maybe it looks like you got to take a class or pay for a mentor or pay for courses to get yourself up to speed.
Yep.
Because when you do start out at something, it is just you. Until you can afford to bring on help or hire the people with the knowledge.
Yep.
So.
You have to. Number 2 is make disciplined decisions. We talked last week about how the Lions are where they are because of the decisions that they made yesterday, that they continue to make today. They established a routine while to help them remain committed to being focused and flowing during a game.
Yes.
You have to be able to make disciplined decisions, which are going to be difficult decisions to make.
Yes.
Margot had to set some boundaries last week.
Yes.
And I loved it because not only was I telling her, hey, look, you got to decide X, Y, C, whatever. But then somebody else was like, I'm not comfortable with that. You really doing this with this person? Like, and not anything inappropriate. Get your mind.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not. But,
Right.
But this person challenged her to make a difficult decision.
No, not really. No. It wasn't a verbal challenge. I didn't like being called out on my own stuff. That's what it was.
And she still had to make a difficult decision.
Yes.
Based on what that person said. I don't know why she does this to me. You can see she does
It
not
was-
like
It wasn't like an ultimatum.
I didn't say ultimatum.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's
said-
what it started to sound
No,
like.
see, you be playing. And we in person, I can choke you now.
You know what?
Usually we on the phone.
We're gonna look at the video of them dudes that I told you about. I like watching too because they are like that. It's funny to see the separate personalities and how somebody listens to something and perceives it away. They do the same thing. It cracks me up.
Usually
So anyway,
we on the phone, and I just she hears it in my
she
voice.
chokes me through the line.
I do, and now that we in person, I want to go because ain't nobody said nothing about an ultimatum. All I said was the conversation that she had with this person. She had a decision to make, and these difficult decisions will be uncomfortable.
Yes.
You will have to decide what it is that you want, what it is that you will do, and then you have to. Like last week, we talked about reviewing, reflecting, refreshing, and resetting. She had to do that,
to review.
and setting boundaries might include other people. They gonna like it? No, who cares?
And setting boundaries is about your time. Well, we talked about that last week too, about counting the costs, setting that clear vision, and that routine that had to be set up, and making the difficult, disciplined decisions.
Yes.
All have to line up to that,
Yes.
And your time is the one thing that you cannot just let it,
You can't.
that you can. That's the one thing you can't buy back. You can never buy back your time. So who's earned your time?
And are they worthy of
Yeah.
your time?
Yeah, because even like with my own kids,
Do they deserve your time?
even
Go
like
ahead.
with my own kids, I love my baby. I love her to death. Everybody knows she is the talker in the family. She can talk all day long. Okay? And then during the game, I unfortunately had to tell her, sweetie, you can watch the game with me. I love when she watches the game with me. But you ain't going to talk about nothing during the game, okay? I do not like it unless it's the game. You know what I mean? Like, we cheering. I don't want to hear nothing. Don't give me that look. I know what you're talking about. And then
we just had a conversation. Because
no, we ain't going to do that yet. Hang on. Look. So anyway, let me finish.
telling my baby to be quiet and watch the game.
Yes.
Like, go ahead.
But then even after, she can go on. So if I want to move into work mode, and I told her, okay, I got to go and do this, you know, but then she wanted to distract me with some talking. And I'm like, sweetie, I want to hear what you have to say, but I'm going to be done at such and such time. Can you wait and hold that until then? And she gets a little hurt, you know, but that is also training her to be disciplined in allocating her time and realizing, you know what, you can't even be hurt at people when they are setting a healthy boundary. Again, that's what a healthy boundary looks like. Because I love my kids. I know I got to give them X amount of quality time. I know and I had cooked. You know, they were taken care of.
Yes.
When things are taken care of, you got to allocate your time accordingly. So if you break down and do your time management, and you only got from 9 to 10:30 every night to do something, then you tell everybody everything's taken care of from 9 to 10:30 on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It's for this. And you hold that hard line 10 toes down, because that is where I can honestly say from experience, how come I took so long, you know, wasted time is allowing those distractions and those things to creep in.
That's good. That is really good. So, we actually are going to be done on time, maybe even a little early, just because God told me the last point don't even belong with this. It belongs with part 2 of Worth the Work, Worth the Wait. Because next week we'll be talking about waiting. Like, I've put in the work. Now I gotta wait. And how long I gotta wait? I brought up my baby, who I was having a conversation with, and she was like, it's been 5 years. I've been waiting 5 years. And God didn't release me to say this. How long did Sarah wait for a baby? How long did?
But do you know, though, that during that waiting period, that's where we should be doing the review, reflect, and refreshing. Because sometimes we don't get to see it because of something that it's either the doubt, the impatience, we just haven't grown. We didn't allow ourselves to grow enough yet. So it's not waiting, like idle waiting, like just sitting here twiddle thumbs.
She trying to make this an hour-long show. That's why we have part 2. I'm just saying.
Is this what the part for next?
This is that she.
So I don't know her point. So
but you knew there was a part 2, and part 2 is gonna be worth the wait.
I didn't know that.
That's why I was just saying I was taking us out of this, setting us up for next week's episode.
So that was a preview of what next week's episode is going to be.
Yes, it was. So I'm not going to share that, but just know God is working on you, and you have to put the work in here in the natural, because God is working spiritually. That's His job. Our job is to work in the natural once we hear in the spirit what it is we're supposed to be doing. Once we see in the spirit what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And we have to be like God. God knows the end and the beginning. We have to see the end and the beginning. And then now you can work towards that end result. Now, will some other things pop up during that work? Yes, because you will end up with something over here. But you gotta put it on the shelf. And come back to it once you have completed this work, and God has said, now it's time for that.
That's good.
Yes.
That is good.
So, amen. Right. Well, you guys have a great week, and come back and join us again next week for another episode of the Jay and Margot Show.
Good night.
Good night.